Good afternoon, it's Tuesday the 2nd of July, it's coming up to 2 o'clock and I'm in the quiet, sleepy village of Ballygowan. I'm just down past the roundabout and we've got the bus station over across the road. And you wouldn't think that much goes on in Ballygowan. Well, there's something very interesting just up the road here, and it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, petroliana museums in the whole of Ireland, if I've pronounced that right. It's Motoring Memories, it's the Heritage, I'll get this right, Motoring Memories Heritage Museum at Ballygowan, and it has all sorts of road signs, petrol pump globes, oil cans, petrol cans, dating right from the 1900s through to the 1950s and 60s. And if you lived long enough to remember the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic, whenever it was patrolled, you would have encountered road signs crossing that border, customs signs, approved road signs, unapproved road signs, Northern Ireland boundary signs, and this man has it. Its curator is a man called Raymond Walls, and I'm just going to pay him a visit today. And this is absolutely super that I'm getting this opportunity. I'm with Mr. Raymond Walls, and this is his Aladdin's Cave of motoring memorabilia. It's hard to put a name to this, but you've sort of named this Motoring Memories Heritage Museum.
I have indeed.
But you have such a variety and richness of memorabilia here, and this is only a small part of it. You've got cars, you've got old classic cars, you've got motorbikes, you've got paintings, you've got oil cans, oil drums, petrol drums, you've got road signs. It's unbelievable what you have stored away in here in little Ballygowan.
I think even a horse-drawn tanker as well, and a showman's caravan.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Pictures of some of the old Belfast trams.
Oh my goodness!
Early lorries.
This is just a menagerie. It's unbelievable.
What I have in the back of the door is very interesting. People love to see this. The best of the past, preserved in the present, for the pleasure of the future.
My goodness. Oh man. And you've got them in Irish as well.
So we have indeed.
My goodness.
Across the board.
Raymond, when did you start your collection?
1980.
Now, your wife is dead.
That's
she
correct,
died
yes.
recently.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yes.
What did she say whenever you started doing this sort of stuff? Are you away again? Are you spending our money? Is this what she said?
She said to me, there's wiser in Purdyspurn.
There's wiser in Purdyspurn. Oh,
right,
brilliant. My mother worked in Purdyspurn. She was a sister in Purdyspurn. My goodness.
That's how it started.
Did she not try and put reins on you?
Well, the thing is, in those days, they weren't very expensive. They were only a fiver.
Relatively cheap.
Yes.
And today they've just rocketed in price.
Those same globes that I bought for a fiver today are all 4 figures.
Boy, so.
Every one of them.
Boy, so. Another question. Just glancing round here, and this is, we're not seeing there's other stuff away round the back. Right. Just a rough guess. Don't worry about if it's anywhere close. How many individual items would you think that you have? We're talking thousands here.
I've no idea. Now, all I can say is that the glass globes on the top of the petrol pumps, I've over 300 of those. I've over 500 signs. I have about 1,000 oil tins and oil cans, oil bottles, hanging light boxes. There's probably about 50 of those.
My goodness gracious. So really, you must have the biggest collection of, what would we call this, auto jumble or
Automobilia is the term it gets.
Automobilia, yes. Or petroliana.
That's right, that's another word.
The biggest collection in certainly in Northern Ireland, and certainly even in Ireland.
Oh yes.
But possibly even in the whole of the British Isles.
At one stage I was, but now overtaken by at least two to three people.
Aye, but there may be big operators as well.
Deep pockets.
Deep pockets. Oh, yes, that's a good way of putting it, I understand.
But this year's a nice wee selection of the custom signs.
Yes, the approved roads.
Just on these signs here as well.
Yes.
Last year, or 18 months ago, it was 2022. Those two signs up there are the centenary of those are the first Northern Ireland boundary customs post signs were up in 1922.
That black and white one there?
Those two black and white ones.
Right.
And they're a place in Drumbogana in Fermanagh.
Drumbogana. There's a mouthful for you.
And then over here is the AA sign in Kelly as soon as you cross the border.
Bill Turbot and Kelly.
That sign was used in Ireland and Scotland.
So what you're saying is the political status is reflected in the signs.
It does indeed.
So this is history. It's not just history. Social history.
And when we go down to the bottom end, I'll show you. You'll see the Scottish section.
Right. Well,
but just before you go here,
yes.
I find it amazing when I get bus groups coming from the south up to here, and I point out that sign to them there, Shell and BP IFS Limited. And I say to them all, what does IFS stand for? I don't know. I don't know. Irish Free State.
Irish Free State. Oh boy, so.
Which came out in 1933.
There couldn't be too many of those signs left.
No, there's not. And this is the one here, which is pre-1933. Unapproved road era. Right, where are we going now? We'll go down to the bottom end.
Right, you lead on. Lead on, Macduff. Right, now what's this second vehicle?
This is another Jaguar. It's known as a Mark IV.
I would say this would maybe be more expensive than the Mark II.
Oh, completely.
Oh, yes.
Completely. It's 1946.
My goodness, this is like something Churchill or some of these boys would have sat in.
So the company initially was SS Swallow Sidecars, and they were built in the north of England. And then after the war, with the SS, with the German war, people had to change the name after the war.
That wouldn't do well.
To Jaguar.
Look at the size of the
But they were made with three engine sizes: 1.5 litre, 2.5, and 3.5. And this is a 3.5 litre engine.
There wouldn't be too many just as looking as well as that around.
No, there's only 2 or 3 in Northern Ireland altogether. There's about 6 Mark IVs altogether in Ireland.
Right, okay.
But quite a few in England. But on the continent and Australia, New Zealand and America, there must be 200 or 300.
Right. I'm trying to pick up as much as possible. We're just panning round. Is that a Foden lorry there?
No, AEC.
My father-in-law drove a Foden.
Yes.
He used to rave about the Fodens.
That's right, the Fodens were
loved the Fodens.
That's right.
My goodness, it looks very like a Foden there.
It does, but AEC. AEC was the bee's knees.
And do you keep any lorries yourself still?
Until 7, 8 years ago, I had four lorries in here.
Right.
And then I lost my daughter 15 years ago in the Air France plane crash. And after that, then the family were all at home one Christmas. And I said to them, what do you want me to keep? And what do you want to get rid of?
Yes.
I said to sell all the lorries and sell all the diggers. It's hard to believe that I had a 10RB track digger sitting where we're standing right now.
So you get diggers as well?
The diggers in here.
Oh,
I had two other diggers in here. And then along that far side, I had a Muirhill crane, a Seaside loading shovel, a Fortune Major on tracks,
boys.
and a big dumper.
Boys, oh,
So this was full of machinery,
boys.
and 3 lorries. Actually 4 lorries at one stage. That was the first lorry there. The green one here, the Matador, that's been taken out on his first run in 1982. That's my mother standing beside me.
Right.
1982.
That's your mother.
My
goodness.
She's dead 11 years now.
My goodness. My goodness gracious.
And this lorry here is a 1947 a Fortune 7V lorry. And after the war, my father had 4 of those lorries.
Yeah.
And that's an early crane, ex-army crane.
My goodness gracious.
And when I was 12, I had to drive that lorry on the building sites and in the fields. At 12 years of age.
12 years. Yes. Health and safety. Oh. Right, where we're going now?
Sorry.
Because we'll be all night going round these.
That's one of the diggers was in here.
Wow.
A Whitlock 405.
I wonder where it is now.
It's in Essex.
Essex.
And the first of them were built on an enough-wheel tractor and a Fortune Major, and then the next ones were built on a Ford 5000.
Right.
And I got the first one. And she is the only tractor that slewed right round.
Yes.
That's her slew. You sit up there.
Yes.
And that digger slew right round like a track digger.
Right.
So she was amazing altogether.
First of the breed. Why so? Here. Well, are we ever going to get out of here tonight?
This here is the Munster Sims area. Belfast brand. Munster Sims traded down at the docks, and it's 2 families, Munster and Sims. They were timber importers.
Yes.
From the 1830s, and then when petrol came out around the 19 teens and the 20s, they got into petrol and traded as Munster Sims. That's one of their tankers there going out of Belfast.
That's
up
right.
a very wide road.
Oh my.
So this is all their stuff all here, Munster Sims.
Right. My goodness. And you're still going along to auctions and whatnot.
All the time.
You're still doing that?
Still doing it.
Oh yes, there's a nice Norton.
Well, this here is the RAC section.
Right.
Now, if you look up at the top left-hand corner,
Right.
get the sign up at the very top. That's the Automobile Club of Great Britain and Ireland. That's 1897. That's the pre-runner of RAC.
Right.
And then if you look at the sign below it there, it says that the Royal Automobile Club, that's RAC. That's when they got royal status in 1907. So as you go across the wall here, they go sort of in age order. These are the oldest, and the other ones are the younger ones.
Yes.
On the right hand side.
Oh my goodness.
Now, when we go up into the next section, we'll see another group called the Motor Union and another strange one called the AA.
Right.
Now, when you joined the Automobile Club of Great Britain and Ireland, that was the application form.
My goodness.
There, look at all the rules and regulations.
That was pretty extensive.
A load of nonsense. There was nowhere to tell you to buy petrol in those days. When cars only came out, people didn't know where to stay. So the other groups, Motor Union, they made out wee booklets.
Yes.
Tell you where you could buy your petrol.
Yes.
In every town and city over the whole British Isles.
Yes.
And where you could get an hotel to stay and get restaurants.
Right.
People didn't know.
It was like a tourist guide.
It was, yes.
Look at all the badges. Fog discs. My goodness gracious. Right. And that would have been, there's the member's telephone box.
Telephone box, yes. Now, what's very strange about that box, it's very special, that box. It's got it tells you where it came from, a place called Killeely.
Yes.
Now, I get different groups coming here to see the place, and I get quite a few from the County Antrim. Beside the airport, a place called Killeed and Antrim and Crumlin, the Navy areas. And well, when they all stand here looking at that Killeely, he says, "Raymond, where's Killeely?" I says, where do you come from? I live in Killeed. But if you don't know where Killeely is, you should be shot. He says, why? It's the next town land. But really, today, most of the town land is all gone. Because when they extended the runways at Aldergrove Airport,
yes, they had into it.
They took up 3/4 of the Killeely townland.
Right.
So what was left was put into Killeed.
Right.
And that road that was on is now in below the runway.
Right. Oh, right.
Of the airport.
Oh, there's a good-looking girl there.
Oh, she is indeed.
You're driving along the road and you'd see something like that, you'd go over the ditch.
She's the bumps in the right places.
Absolutely. My goodness gracious. Hold on, I'll get this. Oh, I love wee models. Boy, so.
Those are all basically oil company stuff.
Right.
And all my life I was always into, my father always had AEC lorries, so that's how I got the bug for AEC lorries.
Yes. And this is your horse-drawn
tanker.
A tanker, boy. That must date from what? Early 20s?
Early 20s.
Boy, so, and there's, oh look, you've got a pedal car as well.
That's Brum.
Brum?
You always heard about the...
Oh yes, of course, it's the children's book.
programme, and that's one of the children's ones that were made for children away.
Oh wow, we used to read our youngsters Brum.
Brum indeed, there's
oh,
there.
Boys, I love this. Oh, this is nostalgia.
And this is my plastic horse. Bought him down in Ennis in County Clare. Bought him at 12:15 one night. So
did you get the other fella drunk?
I don't get to bed too early.
You're a wild man. How did your wife ever stick you, boy?
She suffered me.
She suffered you, yes.
This is the Michelin man here. He
yes.
came out of the Michelin tire factory. It took me 3 years to get him.
Boy, so.
Because when I heard they were closing down, I went up to the factory and the security man told me, see that gate you come in, that's the gate you go out.
How did you get it? Did money change hands?
A lot of money changed hands, but a certain gentleman bought everything in the place, sold it as one lot.
All right.
And then he was very friendly with an antiques place in Ballymena.
Right.
And I had said to him, if he ever hears about it,
yes,
give me the first call, and I got the call.
You got the call. Right. Where are we going now?
We'll go down here into this wee section here.
I walk slow now, I'm panning round to try and listen folks, the only way that I can cover this, or I can't cover this because there's just so much here, but I would encourage you to get in contact with Raymond if you're interested in this kind of motoring memorabilia. Get in contact with Raymond and arrange a time for your visit, maybe your men's group or your church club or something like that, and he'll try and accommodate you. This is what you're doing at the minute. We'll just go on to that, yes, actually, Raymond. So if there's a men's group, men's shed group, or yes, there's a church group or something or other, vintage car club or something, maybe you would want to see this, how do they go about contacting you?
Telephone. Talk.
Right.
I don't bother with emails, I might take an email if there's got a phone number on it, then I can ring them back.
Right.
But as you say, I get church groups, men's groups,
yes,
vintage clubs and groups all the time.
And you ask for a donation of about £10.
£10 minimum donation.
Right,
it all goes to charity.
And it all goes to the charity. Right. What is the charity again?
The charity is my daughter, before she was killed, she was a doctor in the AA and RAC hospital in Dublin.
Right.
So after she died, they set up a memorial research department in the hotel,
right,
or in the hospital.
Yes.
And that's where the money goes.
That's where the money goes. And you're still sending money even today?
Oh yes. Now, so sorry, up above here you'll see all the signs here for Ross Petrol. These are all very early ones. These are all pre-1920. Ross Petrol. Ross Petrol again. That's off their headquarters in Bastide in Glasgow. BOC, Albion Petrol. up here, you'll see the Youngs up there as well, Oak Bank Motor Spirit. And that whole row of stuff was all Scottish tins and cans over there.
Goodness gracious! And you see this. I mean, is this authentic?
Well, before you look at that, look at these here first. These are the old road signs.
Those are old.
Those are very old. Those date from the 1850s.
Wow.
They're Irish miles.
Wow.
So when you're coming from Dublin 51 mile, Newry 1, Banbridge 9, and this one here, then it came from between Hillsborough and Dromore. So when you're driving from Hillsborough to Dromore, you go past the Apple Green, then you go past the place that sells all the Bridge Commercial, sells all the vans. There's a big wide verge, and in that verge is a wee granite post at height.
Yes. And
that post came from there.
Right.
Now, 3 years ago, I had a group from Scarva here. The lad was sitting here, and he was marrying the signs. And he says to me, "Would you like to see another sign?" I says, "Yes, I would." He says, "When you drive from Banbridge towards Newry, you go past Loch Brickland, and you go another mile, and you look on your left-hand side, you'll see a lovely bungalow surrounded in scrap cars. That's where I live. At the end of my lane, there's one of those posts." And I went up on the following Saturday and photographed it. That's still there this very day. Still there at the end of his lane.
Wow.
Now, 2 years ago, I was down visiting a friend at Macrofelt, and he pestered me to see if I'd buy that sign of him there.
Yes.
And I thought about it, and then I remembered that when you added up those 3 mileages there,
yes,
come to 61 miles.
Yes.
So I bought it, and I got that wee stand made for it, but I didn't want anybody walking about here and it falling on them and getting a broken leg.
Absolutely. Oh, claim.
Claim is right. So last year, early this year, there was a man sitting there at a motorbike club.
Yes.
And he was admiring them, and I told him about this here. He said, "I'm told it came from Banbridge, and I was told when you're coming out from Lurgan Co Down into Banbridge, you come to a T-junction, and there's traffic lights.
Yes.
And those miles add up to 61, as and that's there." He said, "Yes, I used to work in the DOE, and we were involved with in removing that from that junction."
Why so?
That proves it all about it.
Right, so it's authentic.
It is.
Boys, and you've got a jukebox over here.
Jukebox as well.
My goodness gracious.
And these are old trolley bus seats there.
Ah, there'll be buses.
That's a tram seat there.
Boys. What have you not got?
Eh?
What have you not got?
You haven't been round yet. This is all the very early AEC signs all here.
Boys,
Early AA again and RAC with their effective studs on them.
my goodness. You've just got so much. My goodness, oh look. There's some of my favourite songs in there. They're all there. Neil Sedaka.
I told you earlier on, it had cranes and things all in here. When I sold those 11, 12 years ago, this dead space.
Yes.
And I wondered what I was going to do with it. And remember at Bewley Museum and a few other places had sort of garage scenes. So I thought I would do the same here then.
Yes.
And this is what I've set up.
Yes. Yes, that's a good idea. Is that a motorbike tyre there?
Pardon?
Is that
that tyre is of a bell-sized car. There's the bell-sized car sign there.
Oh, right.
1914. And one of our founder members of our Download Car Club owned a bell-size.
Right.
And about 20 years ago, a friend of mine in England had a bell-size. And when he took the car for MOT, they refused to pass the car.
Right.
So he had to take the tyre off and put 4 new tyres on.
Right.
But when you look at the top of that tyre, the writing on it says non-skid.
Right.
Non-skid.
Non-skid.
Non-skid, non-skid.
Boys, oh.
And that tyre is 1914.
Boys, oh. Boys, oh. Real history.
Now, here's another bit of history here as well. People in the early days, everybody smoked.
Correct.
Smoked the cigarettes and smoked
Correct.
the pipe. So you had the cigarette lighter with petrol in it. So when you wanted to fill it, if you hadn't the money to buy a wee tin of petrol,
Right.
you went to the garage, you put a penny in the slot,
Yes.
held your lighter in below here, and you pressed the lever down to fill your lighter.
Fill the lighter.
Uh-huh.
Boys, oh. Boys, oh. Boys, oh. You have some amount of stuff here.
And then this oil thing here,
Oil dispenser.
an oil dispenser for 6 grades of oil. And that came out of a friend of mine died about 20 years ago, and everything was sold by auction. And I bought that in memory of him, Robert Good. And it came out of a garage in Shercock in Cavan.
Right.
And as the petrol pump came out of there as well.